back to our land and water. Today is our first Metro Musky report. What these are going to be is kind of what I'm hoping to be a weekly report that's kind of give you an inside look into what's working for me, as well as what I'm hearing throughout the state and specifically the Metro for what's working for other folks. We're going to be looking at location, lures, and presentations in any given Metro Musky report. So let's jump into location. Let's see where people are seeing muskies, where people are catching muskies this spring. So let's quickly jump into locations and where guys have been seeing and catching muskies in the Metro this spring. So what I've heard from around the Metro is that the most action has been coming out of the warmest water with this late spring. So what I want to do is break down here this imaginary weed-based Metro lake that I drew up here. You can see we kind of have our 3 major weed beds here along with our little point in the southeast corner. So I'm going to use my outing last night as an example of water temps and kind of give you a realistic view into how water temps are changing in these different spots. So we're going to start up here. So this is our north weed flat. This is the warmest water in the lake by far. So north side of the lake is always the fastest to warm up. It gets the most sunlight throughout the day. It's always the first area where the ice comes off the lake. Last night, this bay and this weed flat was around 72 degrees. Now we'll take our weather considerations into account. Basically all week throughout the Metro, we've had stable weather in that, mid to upper 70 highs, as well as a consistent light to medium northwest wind. What that's telling me is all this warm water blowing across the lake this way. So then the next place I checked was this bay, this weed flat right here. This weed flat was around 70 to 71 degrees. So it's basically a full degree to 2 degrees cooler than these north bays. We still moved a bunch of fish. I've heard of guys catching fish down in these areas. Still super productive spots. Now let's jump out to some structure. We'll talk about this point right here, specifically up off the tip. There have been some fish that have been caught on structure on outside edges this spring. And right now, what I've been seeing is that these outside edges off the tip, kind of when your boat's off the edge in that 12, 13, 14 feet of water, you're looking at 69 to 70 degree water temps are out here. So if you're looking to go chase muskies this spring, start on the north side, check your water temps. If we continue to have these northwest winds, these southeast corners will continue to warm up. Go find your warm water, work something slow, and if you can mark a fish or two, come back on it during moon, and maybe you can get it to bite. Right now that we know where to look for these springtime muskies, let's figuring out what lures we're throwing, what's getting bit, what's moving fish, what you should be throwing this spring. So we'll start with our search bait. That's been the suic. Any dive and rise bait for that matter. This spring, we've moved tons of fish. I'm talking 12, 15 nice fish on this 10-inch suic or 10-inch style dive and rise baits. We have not got bit. Moved lazy fish, really been a good search bait, but maybe if you downsize to a 7-inch, you might get bit, but if you're looking to find fish to go back on at moon, dive and rise has been the bait for that this spring. Rubber, from what I've heard and what I experienced last night, rubber's getting bit up top and moving a bunch of fish off the edges. So if you're up top and you want to throw some rubber, casual retrieve, shallow swimming dog, really fun lure to throw, easy to retrieve, keep over top of the weeds. You can throw these in these weed flats. What I was throwing last night and I got bit on, didn't get the fish in the boat, but I got bit, mini Medusa. Just giving these some long sweeps and some, if you feel contact with weeds, giving them some good up rips to keep them up. These smaller rubber over the tops of the weeds are getting bit. And some of the bigger fish seem to be moving on the edges, and that's where I throw this regular Medusa. Get casted right up over the top of the edge, give it some up rips over the edge, and then some long sweeps as you roll off the top. These are getting bit and moving a bunch of fish right now too. What seems to be getting bit more than moving fish are the twitch baits. If I'm up on top of the weed beds, I'd be throwing this 5-inch Squirrely Jake or a similar 5-inch, like a 5-inch shallow rater, to work great too. You want to twitch something off the edges, I'd maybe up it a couple inches, like something like this 7-inch big game. Not hearing a ton of guys seeing a bunch of fish on the twitch baits, but they seem to be getting bit. Lastly, your spring staple, the gliders. This is a 6-inch Phantom. I haven't thrown a ton of gliders this year, but they're always reliable search baits. You move a ton of fish in them all year long. And this spring, it sounds like they're getting bit quite a bit as well. As you can see from the lures that are getting bit and the lures that are moving fish this spring, it's a slow presentation. The fish that are coming in aren't really doing a whole heck of a lot at the boat. They're either giving you the shuffle right when they get there or just kind of sinking away. So what I would recommend is with these slower presentations, give something to trigger strikes throughout your retrieve. Whether it's a 1-1-2, 1-2-3 with a glider, or letting your diving rides float almost all the way to the surface. Rubber, uprips, sweeps, let it sink a little bit when you get off an edge. Those will all trigger some strikes and maybe give you a better chance of getting a fish that's following the lure to bite. Thank you for tuning into this Musky report. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do this on a weekly basis. All depends on how much on-water footage I get from that week or how much I'm able to get on the water in general. Next video will be the Metro Musky tournament. It's an awesome tournament. If you haven't signed up, you definitely should. Regardless if we catch fish or not during that tournament, this way it's looking like not. We'll give you full access in that tournament, give you updates, really make it a fun day. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll see you this weekend for the Metro Musky tournament.